Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be speaking about the Semovente 105. Now, as many of you may know, this is a brand new tier 3 premium on the Italian ground forces tree, which was released in update 1.85. Now, this vehicle is rather interesting. When I initially saw the development blog for it, I was thinking to myself, you've got a gun that's bad at long range, it's a self-propelled gun, weak armor, and they did say in the devlog it wasn't so fast. So I was really thinking this is a mixture for basically just getting clubbed by everything. And in some aspects it does. In up tiers you will face stuff like KV-1s, which it does have issues fighting. But as you'll see later on in the video, they can actually be dealt with. But playing it, that really isn't the case for the most part. It's actually rather small, so the weak armor is understandable. Looking at the devlog, you would think this is actually a rather large vehicle. It is not. It is a very small, low-profile vehicle, which is very nice. The gun is not, granted, is not good at long ranges. It sort of sucks. The shells that you have access to are APC and heat rounds. The heat rounds can be used at long range. If you hit on a 0-degree angle, you will have 120mm of pen. But, you know, most of the time I use the APC. They have 90mm of pen at the best at 10 meters range on a 0-angle surface that it's going into. So, obviously not the best at long range, although they are very useful at short range. I don't tend to use the heat, but I do carry them for facing, for example, KV-1s, things with far heavier armor that the APC may not be able to pen. But nonetheless, the APC at least does have quite a powerful actual charge. It has 275 grams of explosives, which isn't too bad, to be perfectly honest, although the heat, of course, does have more, but is in some ways less effective than the APC, depending, of course, on what you're fighting. Now, as I said, it's fairly low profile. This is very nice for sneaking around, as I'm doing now in this game. Being very sneaky, it is a very small vehicle, difficult to spot despite the bright camouflage. And the speed, the mobility is also not bad. Turns on the spot very, very rapidly. Very nice to see. Yesterday, for my video yesterday, I had to play the Su-85 a lot. That was something that I felt really hindered that vehicle. Turning on the spot was dreadful, so you could get easily sort of pulled up on your side by another enemy vehicle, and then that enemy vehicle could just kill you without you doing anything. This, on the other hand, a bit more rapid with the turning, definitely a lot faster and a lot more mobile, so that's a lot better. I personally don't like self-propelled guns all that much, but at least playing this vehicle, I did have a complete blast. It was a brilliant vehicle, very fun to play, and I really did enjoy it. Now, of course, as you saw there, of course, it was a fairly bad angle to shoot that APC round onto, but it's not the most effective. And I did just bounce around from a Sherman. And as you can see here, fairly flat angle, you will do a lot of damage, which is very, very nice. Now, in terms of RP and Silver Lion gain, I was finding in a game with, for example, 3 kills, maybe a base cap, you would get a decent amount. You could get 4,000 to 6,000 research points. Of course, this is with premium account. And you could get, in some cases, all the way up to maybe 50k Silver Lions, which really was very good. Playing this vehicle for about 20-30 games did get me from about 100k to 1,000,000 Silver Lions, which was really nice because I was trying to save up to get crew slots for various vehicles I got recently, such as the CL-13 and the Javelin. But, you know, it's really good for grinding Silver Lions. So, obviously, if you want to get the Italian tank tech tree, I would say get this for grinding up to tier 3. Within one day, I ground all the way up to tier 3 effectively. I was able to get a good few vehicles in tier 3 using this. Using this alone, I was able to get into tier 3 and get the M4 Tipo, the M46, and the Semovente 105 in the tech tree. This is worth noting, it is an exact copy of a tech tree vehicle, only I believe with the Leoncello sort of group camouflage. The Leoncello group, I believe, was like a tank regiment in Italy. I believe that's what it is. It was the same regiment as the P40 that's been available in game for about a year. So, you know, it's good to go in a collection with that, I would say, if you already have that vehicle. But as you can see, it is a very small vehicle, lower than a lot of fences. I found a lot of the small stone walls on a lot of the European maps, this is lower than. So you can just sit there and hide down below walls and stuff. And as you can see, it's a tiny vehicle. People have trouble noticing you. The other SPGs I've played recently, like the Su-85, very big vehicles, very noticeable, and that's why I was having trouble with them, because everyone sees you. This, on the other hand, tiny little tank, and especially in RB games, if you put bushes on this over the front, people might just not see you, because of course in RB the optics aren't affected by bushes being placed, which is a very nice feature in my opinion. Does allow for some very sort of sneaky breaky customization on your tanks, which I do like. In Sim, of course, it is a different option because you have to consider where the optics are going to be and where they're covered up. If you are wondering that, though, you can see the optic. It's poking through a little hatch on the top. So as long as you keep that with a good line of sight, you should not have any problems. Now, as you've been seeing so far this video, despite having not a huge amount of pen, the APC shell is actually very good. If it does pen, it will kill the enemy target effectively. I don't think I've ever had to actually use heat because I can't pen with this shell. The one time I probably should have is when I faced the KV-1, although I kept with the APC and I did eventually kill him, which you will see later on in the video. Getting into rating, though, as I said, though, it's a tier 3. This is at a rating of 3.3. Exact same rating as the P40 Leoncello, which does mean it's perfect for going in a lineup with that tank. 2 premiums. If you already have the P40, get your 2 Leoncello group vehicles in a lineup together, and that would be just perfect. Personally, I would advise having the Leoncello P40, the Leoncello Semovente 105, and the R3 T20 with the 20mm cannon for anti-aircraft support. Of course, as if you know, that is a fast boy. That is the fastest vehicle in the game, I believe. So, you know, fun little thing to derp around with once you've done using your premium vehicles in a game. Now, in terms of armor, I did speak about the armor being a bit meh. And, you know, it is, but it's not too bad. First off, the flat plate where the gun is 75mm. So, you know, at this rating of 3.3 in a down tier, you will probably be facing vehicles with shells that will not be able to pen your main plate. In terms of the actual, sort of where the transmission is in the front, the upper frontal plate is a 25mm rolled homogeneous piece. There are also 2 hatches on that, but they're also 25mm, so I would count it as the same thing. There is then the sort of curved frontal plate, or the angled frontal plate, you might want to call it. That's 50mm, and then the lower frontal plate's 35. So you do have decent protection, I would say, from sort of most shells you'll be facing. Up tier games, though, of course, are a different thing to talk about, really. You face things like the KV-1, as you can see now, and as you can see, it did take quite a few shots to keep him stationary as I worked out where I could kill him. And if you do see a KV-1, that's what you got to do. Back of the turret ring, into that gap, and it should explode through and knock out the crew. So just a little piece of advice there of how to deal with those things, because they can be rather annoying. Anyway, though, so we now have gotten to the final game of this video. It has gone by fairly fast. I've had lots of kill footage. I did do a lot more games than I usually would for a vehicle for a video, just because of how much I was enjoying it. And it really does show with like my KD for the vehicle. Usually I have roughly a 1-to-1, maybe 1.5-to-1 KD. This, I almost have 2-to-1, which obviously isn't great, but I'm fairly happy with it. 22 deaths to 40 kills. I'm not really going to complain so much, and I've done 28 games, and, you know, I've been able to get a decent amount of silver lions. I've been able to get about 300,000 silver lions overall from this vehicle in those 28 games, so I'm really not going to complain. But to sum this vehicle up, I really must say that it's one of those vehicles where you initially look at, you might initially test drive the vehicle, and you really think it's not going to be very good. But then you actually play the vehicle, and I think it's just a combination of its small size, great mobility, and a fairly decent gun for its rating that really make it to be one of those surprisingly fun vehicles. So I would say, do test drive it, but if you want to grind the Italian tech tree and you don't have any other vehicles bought, or you already maybe have the P40 Leoncello, this is definitely a great combination with the P40. Same rating, same camouflage even, so definitely something to look into if you already have the P40 Leoncello. Anyway, though, thanks a lot for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please consider smashing the like button. Maybe even subscribe to the channel. If you do, that would be massively appreciated. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.